I've been working on this character. I think as soon as this all ends, I'm gonna try my hand at stand up. So here's one of my characters. It's
I can't wait.
I can tell I'm gonna be great at stand up already because Shannon's bitches.
I got the wiggles.
All right. So this is a teenager who comes out to their parents as a increasingly populist senator. All right, ready? So it's a teenager coming out to their parents as an increasingly populist senator. Mom.
God damn it.
Dad. I'm Ed Mackey. Huh?
No, that fucking sucks.
But then the dad's like, wait, what? Colton, why are you talking like you're from Southie? We live in Seattle. And he's like, why don't you sit down and we'll talk about it? And like Colton's like, the bosses can tell me where to sit, but they can't tell me where to stand. Huh? Said Mackey.
Yeah. Wait,
who
was that?
Ed Mackey.
Yeah, man. I mean, fuck it. I'll come to your first show when you debut that live.
I think if I bomb my first time, then it's only uphill from there. So
you're lucky to have us here to help.
The key to that joke is going to be tenacity. Like, no matter how many people tell you it's lame and not funny, you got to believe in yourself and you got to stay on the path. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the key to your comedy career.
You hold that lane. Yeah. Don't let it go.
So for those, there's going to be a lot of people in the crowd, I think, who probably don't know who the fuck Ed Mackey is.
I don't know, man. I got like 25 texts when he fucking won that race. I didn't fucking know who he was. I had to look it up. Yeah.
I'm still like, I'm ready. I'm here for this conversation.
Okay. So he's a Massachusetts senator.
Pick that up based on the accent.
So he's Ed Mackey. And he's been in office basically since around the time that Elizabeth Warren got elected. They got elected the same year. I think he was a special election, so he came in a few months later, something like that. And, but, he's always been this sort of like, I guess, labor-oriented type politician. He was in Congress for a long time in the House, and then he became a senator in 2013. So now he's running for re-election in 2019. Also, he has increasingly, he hasn't been a perfect politician. He voted for the Iraq War.
Yeah,
he voted for the crime bill, I believe, too. So he's never been like a perfect politician.
Has he said anything about either of those votes, like recently and like in today's context?
I have zero idea. I have no idea.
Yeah, if anybody's listening to that and has any info on that, please tweet that at me. I'm interested in that.
Yeah. Well, he's endeared himself to the left wing of the Democrats because he was one of the first people to sign on with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on the Green New Deal. And so you're kind of putting your career on the line when you're that early on something that audacious. So that was a big deal. He's kind of endeared himself to like a young left. And this year, Joe Kennedy III, the grandson of Robert F. Kennedy, decided to try to primary him, basically. And it turned into this weird sort of proxy war between the AOC left of the Democrats and the Pelosi establishment of the Democrats. Nancy Pelosi endorsed him. Obviously, she's also sort of a nepotistic family, the same way the Kennedys are in politics. So it became this big fight. But Joe Kennedy's like, do you remember him? He's like a really weird. Both of you are dead silent.
I didn't realize that you were asking us a question just then. I thought that was just like part of your storytelling.
Oh, no.
They need to he looks like my initial thought upon reading about this guy and seeing his picture is that they need to add a little flavor to the Kennedy bloodline. Because this guy, there's some
He looks like a vampire. But but old money, well, I guess a lot of vampires are like that too. But just very boring and sort of drawn and features and very pale skin. My favorite thing that he ever did was he was supposed to do the rebuttal after one of Trump's State of the Unions. And all the old people, boomers love him because they love the Kennedys. And then they thought that young people would love Joe Kennedy because they're he's young like you. And we're well,
right.
No,
and Markey's in his 70s.
Yeah. And Markey is actually excited about the sort of populist movements going on right now. And he wants to be responsive to them. Anyway, so Kennedy goes up to do this rebuttal to Trump's speech. And apparently he had I don't know what it was. It was way too much somebody gave him chapstick or lip gloss or something. And it kind of looked like he was drooling for his entire speech. Do you remember this?
I'm telling you, man, he looks like if a pug was a human being. And they're just all kind of fucked up looking because of the way that they've been bred to be pugs. He's got the Kennedy version of that.
Yeah.
They all look a little bit fucked up.
It's it's like when royal lines start to get real thin. You know?
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Markey trounced him by 11 points because he's Ed Mackey.
Yeah. My mom reached out specifically to dunk on us because a cool boomer won an election that was cool and is more progressive than the opponent.
I kind of that.
We got boomer slammed by my mom on that one.
Listen, if boomers are the cool boomers, then we are on your side. Just don't be a Pelosi boomer.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Mom.
No, I'm just saying we're on your mom's side. I hope this doesn't warrant an email.
Oh, we're getting one, dude. For sure.
We're gonna get an email.
She's already writing one.
She's on it.
She can feel that we're talking about her right now.
Eyes twitching. All right. Well, I guess let's get started with the show. Thanks for listening to my bit.
Yeah, that was really great. Thanks for bringing that to the show.
I think we're always here for that. You want to run shit by us, and
Yeah. That's good. You got any more material? I'm really into it.
You're going to regret saying that because I do.
All right. Let's do that after the show. For now, Can we listen to this song and then do a show?
Okay.
Yeah.
Voices, the things they said. Voices, some from those dead. All the voices heard. Voices, things we say. Voices, they're in your head. All the voices heard.
Hello, everyone. You have Kempa.
And Skylar.
And Shannon.
Still no flow.
Wow, that silence was just
I know.
heartbreaking.
Especially because she's the chipper one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Correct.
Yeah, we all come in, it's like, hey, man, it's me. And then Flo's like, hey,
yeah,
it's voices time.
She really is the one who brings the energy. The three of us are just like...
Well, I put all my energy into my character.
Yeah.
No, you get a pass for the rest of the episode.
It's the best of me.
Totally.
Yeah, this was very front-loaded episode, Kempa-wise, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I could try to speak the rest of the episode if we're talking about co-ops.
Like, yeah. Let's do that.
Accent.
Let's do that.
The listeners are
gonna love that.
Yeah.
I mean, Skylar and I are not gonna get tired of that at all.
I'll just start talking like Bane, and you got to pick one.
I'm just gonna start speaking in Spanish.
Dude, yes. This is like a textbook how to grow your podcast listenership model right here.
Yeah. Totally.
Everybody do a voice, one person speaking a language that people might not understand.
Oh my God.
And the other, at least one of the hosts does not.
Have we told you that
invented cops?
We're looking for our 100th Patreon supporter? And
no, we're at
how
101 now.
Are you?
Oh,
are we really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I have to write somebody a limerick.
Oh, we have to write a few limericks. Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
limerick time.
here's the thing. I didn't sign up for any of that shit.
I'm happy to write a limerick.
Yeah, I'll write limericks all day long.
Oh, boy. I can't wait. Can you put those on the Slack channel?
There once was a guy named Ed Markey.
I like to go play in the Packy.
Yes, dude, this person already is like getting their money's worth on this Patreon subscriber.
Oh,
this is the subscription.
Okay.
This is great.
Best choice.
He stepped in some guy.
Oh, all right, okay.
And he said, "Oh, I'll just pull it off with my cocky."
Hey.
Yeah?
All right. Honestly, that was tight. That should have been the opener right there.
Plenty more. No, I mean, if anyone else wants to become a patron this week, I'll write you a limerick too.
Send a voice recording of a limerick.
I'll do it in whatever accent you ask.
Shit, I should probably become a Patreon supporter again.
There once was a young man named Bane who flew in to bring Gotham some pain.
We have lost all of our listeners.
Yeah, all right, yeah. Let's Flo. This is what happens when you're not around. We can't. The three of us can't be trusted to do this show.
We can't be serious. It's impossible.
Well, I guess let's talk about some cops.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about some legislation.
I thought you were gonna say cops.
Some cops.
Yeah.
Some co-ops.
I really suck at that accent, so I'm glad I haven't had a chance to really fuck that up. But okay, so end of session was Monday of this week, right? We are now in early September. That was all the time that legislators had to push through really all of their bills. And in a normal year, it's a shit show, right? Notwithstanding like women throwing their menstrual cups into the Senate floor or whatever.
Oh, that's my kind of party.
Yeah, well, now because of COVID, none of us can throw our menstrual cups into the Senate floor.
Fucking COVID.
Yeah, it's ruining all the fun. But so a number of things are, if any of you weren't aware, some things are happening this year. One of them being we live in a pandemic, and no one can do anything right now. Another one being California just saw some of the worst spates of wildfires that I think historically we've ever seen over the course of a single week. Two of those wildfires are now the number 2 and number 3 largest fires in the history of our state. What else? Economic collapse, rising fascism in our country.
Murder hornets.
Ooh, murder hornets, yeah.
Increased unrest. Apparently now there's an asteroid that might hit us. Although we're not legislating that right now in California. And then, so there's a lot of things they need to pass on the state level, particularly regarding the fires, and COVID related things, because they have to serve the people of California, or claim they are, or at least look like they are, more so than the federal government is, because they're not doing anything at the federal level. So a lot going on there. Not only that, some senators and assembly members couldn't even be in the Capitol building because there was a little outbreak of COVID on the Republican Senate side, I believe.
Imagine that. I
can't believe it was the Republican.
This is shocking news.
I thought they were careful. I thought Republicans were very careful about this, and that they really respected our public health professionals. This all comes as a surprise to me.
Yeah, giant shot.
Yeah, same.
But like 10 out of the 11 Republican senators had to zoom into the final couple days of legislation. So all of this is to say, things were fucking wild the final night. Things got slowed down, things got confused, things got thrown away. And as a result, some very important legislation did not end up passing. In particular, there were 3 police bills that to me, I thought would have been really important. Who would like to discuss those 3?
Why don't you bring us in? I mean, the only one that I'm really familiar with is 731.
Okay.
Talking about the 3 that did pass?
No, the ones that didn't make it.
3 that didn't pass.
Yeah. So I will. My refrigerator just started running, and I figured I'd hand it off, but you probably won't hear it. So SB 731. That's the one that we discussed this sort of at length, right? It would have stopped problem cops from finding work after they leave their current job or are forced to leave their current job.
Right, it like decertifies them if they have like some kind of a violent offense on their record, right? Like you can't be a cop anymore.
Yeah, and there's like 45 of the 50 states have legislation on this. This isn't, it's a no-brainer. And
it's like this is the one that like I don't understand why on any side of any of this, the only people who like benefit from this not passing are violent cops. Like
Right.
quote unquote good apples, insofar as they actually fucking exist, benefit from this. So I don't see, like, I don't know. And the way, you know, Dave, can you run us through like exactly how this went down? Because the way that I read it looked like there was a lot of fucking cowardice and people like really pushing to not have to vote on this because they were afraid of the police unions, basically.
So the way this goes and the way it's been explained to me is that on the final day, you sometimes spend a bunch of the day scrambling to make sure you have the votes for your particular bill before presenting it to up for vote. Apparently, you know, they were working to get that done, but by the time came around to perhaps get it out there, time had already passed, and so they couldn't even bring it to a vote. That's problematic because bringing it to a vote, even if it hadn't passed, then we would have known which
Right.
assembly
Who voted for it and who didn't.
Yeah. Who is on the people's shit list, basically.
Right.
And now we will never know.
Yeah.
So the way these bills work is, you know, you've got one, there's 80 assembly members, you got to get 41 people to pass it, right? And so your folks run around trying to, you know, notch off 41 people. And there are some folks that are called wobblers, and you're not sure which way they're going to vote. And for something like this, as we were saying, it could be that they're terrified of the police lobby, so they don't want to be one of the few assembly members on the line for that if it doesn't pass. Or they're just kind of like safe politicians. So it's like, you know, they're leaders of their district, but they're not leaders in the building. And so if enough Democrats vote in one direction, then they'll be like, oh yeah, I'll vote for it now too. Like they sort of just will fall in line on something like this. It's just a lot of cowardice, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly what it fucking is.
But this and a number of other bills didn't even make it to the floor to get voted on. This one is to me just one of the saddest because it's a no-brainer. You know, and then of course you have the PORAC, Peace Officer Research Association lobbyist out there who's friends with all of these politicians, and he's basically like, since he's friends with them, he can defend, you know, a bunch of people that in any other country would be considered murderers.
Right.
And so it's just a really messed up sort of system and process.
It's also like it bears repeating too that like there are 5 states in the country who don't have legislation to this effect, and California is one of them.
90%
what the fuck
of the U.S. is better on this.
Yeah.
But that also goes to tell you how strong the police union is. And with the other two bills, the police union not only is its own entity, it also, as Senator Skinner has mentioned, they team up with the correctional peace officers union, so the guards, the prison guards. They team up with the sheriff's departments, and they team up with all the district attorneys in the state. And that's a pretty hefty lobby then by that point. So all of them feel like they're under attack, as they fucking should be. But as that's happening, they are all glomming together as sort of a single movement. The two others that didn't pass was SB 766. Senator Skinner, as I just mentioned, she passed an amazing bill that increased transparency on police misconduct and their records. This would have added to that. Another no-brainer bill, but it didn't make it for the same reason. The cops won the lottery this year. And then the final one being AB 66, which would have restricted when cops can use rubber bullets and pepper spray, and it would have banned tear gas as a way to control crowds. And for those of you listeners, and I'm sure there's many of you who have been shot with a rubber bullet or dealt with tear gas, that's also fairly no-brainer legislation.
Yeah, and like don't show up. It bums or appears to scandalize the sheriff if you show up with a gas mask. Did you see him whining about the people who showed up in armor and gas masks and everything? Like, dude, yeah, if you come out and use gas on people, like, what do you think the next fucking step is? Like,
was that at his 8-minute press conference?
Where he like declared war on Antifa or whatever the fuck.
I read the press release wrong. I went to the sheriff's department and there was just broken glass and boarded up windows there. I'm like, where's the fucking press conference? It was at the jail. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Oh, I mean, no, that's basically it. I just thought it was funny that he's like, and now they're coming out with gas masks and shields. It's like, yeah, because you're gassing them and shooting shit at them. You dumb fucking idiot. What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
He really isn't. Like, to state that publicly at a press conference and be like, I don't get it. Like,
you're right. Exactly.
What?
He's just like the conservatives at the national level that think they can. Who was that? Rand Paul threatened to subpoena the leadership of Antifa. And
yeah, that was rough. I had to head over to the headquarters and shred a bunch of documents to get out in front of that.
Skylar's just like in all black, just like scurrying to the wearing those gloves, the tear gas can gloves.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I sold all of my stock in Antifa as soon as that went down because I just knew
that's pertinent.
That's a really good move.
Yeah.
Really good move.
I've gone full bear on Antifa, given the political climate.
Yeah.
Savvy.
Mm-hmm. So those are all bummers.
Shit. Let's just add to the list of. Let's add to the list of shit that makes us cry ourselves to sleep at night.
The feral hogs do win that round. So congrats to all of you out there.
Yeah, the feral hogs did kind of take this one down. But some of them, Dave, will make it to the governor's desk. There's actually kind of a substantial list of them. None that I like as much as these three, but they're worth mentioning anyway.
Great.
Can you, would you mind running us through those?
Yeah, let's do that. And let's do sort of like, sort of just our knee-jerk responses to these bills. But like, we don't have to spend too much time on them because there is a whole grouping of.
Yeah, there's a slew of them.
At least, I guess it's 7, which is, I can barely count that high. So
nobody has time for that.
What are numbers?
Yeah, right. The first one is AB 1299. This would require law enforcement agencies to alert the Commission of Peace Officer Standards and Training if their officer resigns or is terminated during a misconduct investigation. The department would then have to complete its review on follow-up with details of the findings, which would create records that would be disclosed if the cop tries to find another job in law enforcement.
Who's on the commission on peace officer standards and training? That's my question for this one.
I don't even
Are they
need
people
to
who are
know.
actually fucking interested in seeing this through, or are they fucking cops who are just gonna like throw it in the trash and go to lunch?
That's my read. It's a nothing burger. It's cops that will continue to protect themselves.
I suspect this wouldn't actually, like, this is just one of those things so that it looks good on paper because the language is like very accountability centric, but at the end of the day,
Yeah. I guess I don't.
Bureaucratic nonsense.
Yeah. It feels like that. I also just don't have an opinion because I legitimately don't know who's on this commission. So it means nothing to me.
Well, I don't think we even have to look at that because this bill unanimously passed both the Senate and the Assembly, and that's all I need to know.
Then there's a pretty good chance that it fucking sucks.
So it's just bullshit. Tight.
All right. What's next?
Yeah. So thanks, California legislature. Next one, AB 846. Again, these are all going to go up in front of Governor Gavin Newsom and his desk, and if he signs them, they will become law. AB 1299 would require...
846.
God damn it. This is why I need you to keep me in line. Okay. AB 846 would require departments to include in evaluations of prospective officers. So they're considering hiring someone, right?
Okay.
They have to include in their evaluations of this potential hire any bias against that they might detect, right? That you as a hiring cop might detect any bias against demographics like race, gender, sexual orientation, or religion. It would also make recruiting materials highlight, quote unquote, community relations as part of the job. What are our thoughts on that?
I mean, this is more just performative nonsense. It's cops 100%. Policing cops. It's fucking meaningless.
Yeah. If you're a racist fucking cop and you're like, nah, he doesn't sound racist to me, like, no.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely not.
We're just
also, you have to read a paragraph about community relations too, in like the pamphlet that they give you before you can like get in a cruiser and go shoot people.
Mm-hmm. You had a sign saying that you read the pamphlet on community relations.
You have to relate to the community if you want this job. Just a heads up. Do you agree to that? Also, we don't want cops interacting with people anymore. Just like get out.
Right.
So anyway, that one sucks too.
Yeah, we don't like it.
We're 0-2 here. AB 1196 would ban carotid artery restraints and chokeholds.
I mean, duh, but they're still going to do it.
They're also not allowed to do a whole bunch of shit that they do all the time. Yeah. And if you have a problem with it, you can get fucked.
Like I don't know. Cops aren't supposed to just like immediately kill people. Like they're supposed to de-escalate, but that's kind of not working.
Yeah. So. Just remember that this is AB 1196 for when a cop is choking you out illegally. You can be like, "Excuse me, sir. Yeah. Due to Assembly Bill 1196, this is actually illegal." And he'll be like, "Oh yeah, my bad.
Oh yeah, I'll stop.
I got that memo. I'm glad you reminded me of that." That's how that interaction will go.
It's like maybe if we pass a law saying cops can't murder, then they'll stop murdering people.
Would be cool to have that.
Let's try that. And let's see if the system just protects them no matter what they do, even if they do exactly what this bill tells them not to do.
Yeah. Oh, dude, this is like, if he signs this, I guarantee you that someone dies of a carotid chokehold within like a week of this bill being signed into law, and nothing will happen.
And they will get away with it.
Exactly.
No
it's
question.
Like right after these conversations around carotid artery restraint, chokehold, whatever the fuck. Like we were having these conversations at the city council level, and then it was like 2 days later that someone caught a Sacramento police officer choking someone out downtown. Like It doesn't. They don't give a fuck.
No, they don't give a fuck.
Did you see that video of the SAC PD officer kicking a man?
Yeah, in the back,
standing, like
yes.
kicking him in the back.
That's an old. That's like years ago too. It's not a super recent.
I didn't know that. That was from a while ago.
It's from a little bit ago, yeah. And the reason that it came back up is because of like internal investigation. But that's like that guy was fully like standing still, hands behind his head, and the cop just like straight up like Mortal Kombat kicked him.
Well, to be fair, there was no assembly bill in place to prevent the cops from Mortal Kombat kicking people who are already surrendering.
You know what, Skylar?
Yeah,
this is why you're the cop expert on the show.
Next session, I'm going to present a bill where we make it illegal to do the latissimus dorsi kick.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
And then that won't happen anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's always how this shit works. You say don't do it, and then they just stop doing it. So
I feel like I should introduce a bill to remove the movie Bloodsport from police training videos that they have to watch.
They have to watch it once a week. It has to be community relations Bloodsport.
Yeah, let's get Jean-Claude Van Damme on that one. He'll be into it. All right, what awesome other piece of legislation are we going to talk about?
Although I guess that's the first one that I'm like, well, I mean, at least sign that one. Fine.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
Whatever.
Fine, sign it. You want to... Gavin Newsom's just itching to sign stuff.
AB 2054 would create a pilot grant program to empower community organizations with handling certain crises instead of law enforcement. Now, some of you might remember we had Asantha Boykin on the show of MH First, who basically runs
mental health first.
Yeah, mental health first. And it's basically a nonprofit program that she and a bunch of volunteers run, where they are first responders to people experiencing homelessness who might be having mental health crises or whatever. So basically this bill is something that would throw real funding towards some pilot programs that speak to exactly what Asantha has been working to create for the Sacramento region.
Okay, I like this one.
Yeah, sign that shit.
Yeah, let's fucking go with this one and like stay on top of like making sure that this doesn't get watered down and defunded and kind of thrown into some office that nobody's paying attention to. Like if this is executed well, this one is very, very cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is like one of those situations where if you actually like treat the community as the experts that they are, those community organizations that know what the fuck they're doing, treat them as the experts that they are, allow them to come up with, community-based plans that actually support people. And all of you like elected officials and like cops
listening to the show right now,
all of you who are tuned
Jean-Claude
in
Van Damme
right now, stay the fuck out of it and let folks do the real work. Like MH First is out there just doing it every weekend.
Yep.
Making good shit happen. Yeah. Sign it, Newsom.
I think it's exciting. I hope the right people get the money for it. That's always a fear when they come up with, bills like this. Because they tend to hate people who are radical and who are doing very important things on their own without their permission.
Right. And like trying to help the community without killing anyone is radical in 2020 in California.
Like for real though.
Yeah. There's so many people I interview when I use the word radical about what they're doing, because it is by the standards of like today's politics, and they always just scoff at that term, and they should, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We like that one.
Yeah. So that is our favorite so far.
Yeah.
Sign two of them. That one's actually good. SB, so a Senate bill, 629, It lets media representatives into areas closed off by law enforcement during demonstrations and rallies, and would prohibit officers from citing, that is, giving citations to the press.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, totally.
Easy yes for me.
Give us all the footage. Let us know all of the things that are happening.
If they aren't doing anything illegal, then there's no reason why they wouldn't want journalists back behind those lines.
Yeah. I will
what?
say I have a couple issues with this. One being they're still going to beat and arrest journalists, but it would be good to have a law on the books. Not that ever protects them anyway.
At least they probably won't put you in a carotid choke, Dave.
Oh yeah, because we're gonna get that.
Or they might. I mean, let's be okay. They probably will. Never mind.
Well, here's the other one too. So press, who defines what press is? And it's very important to me that the state does not define who press is. We are independent media, right? We are press in our own way. We We do go out to demonstrations.
Often at Doko.
Yeah. And we cover them and we learn about them and what people are doing there so that we can speak with a shave of authority on the show, or at least have their representatives on the show to tell us what it is that they're fighting for. So I should hope by our listeners' metrics, we are press. But does the state recognize Shannon as press if she's out there? Do they recognize me as press if I'm out there after curfew hours like we discussed back in June and the cops decide, I've never heard of Voices, I'm going to arrest you, we're throwing you in jail?
Dude, your best fucking bet is that the cops have never heard of Voices, if it comes down to it.
Absolutely. Even it doesn't matter how many times I tag Scott Jones. It doesn't matter how much yoga I'm doing. Chief Han. He still doesn't know what voice. He still calls it River City Voices, and it's infuriating to me.
Don't let him get to you. That shit. He's doing that shit on purpose.
I think
he's trying to get under your skin.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I guess that bill's okay. To me, I'm a shrug at it, but like if it's in the books, like maybe that helps in some way. Just last year we saw them arrest multiple journalists, and while they did the illegal kettling, SAC PD doing that in East SAC. So it's just hard for me to imagine a scenario where they fuck with some journalists and throw them in jail, and then the journalist is like, oh, here's my press pass, and they're like, oh, sorry. I just it doesn't I don't see it happening.
That's not how that works.
Next one, we've talked about the next two. AB 1506, that's our local assembly member, Kevin McCarty. He loves to sort of poke and prod at police, and really he's been trying hard to push back on police violence in the state. So this is a bill, 1506, that would elevate more cases of cops killing unarmed people to the state attorney. So to the state attorney general's office, that's Javier Becerra, for investigation. And that's as opposed to just the local county district attorney addressing these cases. Thoughts on that?
I mean, okay. Is Becerra going to do anything that somebody else wouldn't do in regard to this stuff? I
think it's another one of those, like, if it's on paper, it sets up. Well, let me rewind. Like, if we have people holding these offices that actually give a shit,
right,
then we can make sure that, this assembly bill actually has some weight behind it. So for me, it's like right now, if Newsom signs it, it kind of means shit based on who we have in these offices, but
potentially,
there is potential for it to.
I like that take.
To do good in the future.
Yeah, I mean, if we talk about Stephon Clark's situation here in Sacramento, it did get elevated to the Attorney General's office. And so we saw it at both levels. We saw the district attorney do their investigation, and we saw the same day the attorney general come out with their investigation findings. And I think Skylar's right in the current situation that neither were different. They both came out in favor of the killer cops.
Right.
I guess one thing is, if this law is in place and it immediately gets elevated to the attorney general, maybe the vile Anne-Marie Schubert doesn't have a chance to hold a national press conference to assassinate this young boy's character a year after he is brutally killed in his grandma's backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I do, it's important to remember that Trash Monster District Attorney Anne-Marie Schubert has never pressed charges against cops who have killed people. And never ever.
Never. She loves a killer cop.
They are her favorite.
She makes a lot of money off of those guys. The fucking totally, cops 100%. Fund her fucking campaigns and shit.
Yeah.
I
hear that one of her biggest fundraising events is the Killer Cop Soiree. That's satire, folks. That's Anne-Marie, don't sue me. Don't sue Voices.
Well, according to our YouTube comments, we got people listening.
They've got their eye on us.
Yeah.
I know Amendment 1 very well. I'll let us know when we're violating it.
Oh, I know it now too, because I've fucked it up. So I think, again, sign it, get it on paper so that maybe we're more motivated to vote for people who actually
and in such a time as we have an attorney general who doesn't fucking suck, then maybe something cool can come out of this.
Hard to imagine that day, but
I guess I'm a whatever on this bill. But
people are gonna get fired up about voting for, like, getting the attorney generals and getting the right people in here now. They're really going to get into it.
No, I mean, what's happening, what we are doing right now is we are, like, really imagining a better future for attorney generals that give a shit. So,
right.
Super enthusiastically, obvi.
Okay. AB 1185. This is the last one. This is Kevin McCarty's other bill that would allow voters and county boards of soups to create oversight committees on sheriff's departments. And these oversight committees would have actual teeth, right? They'd have subpoena power. Thoughts?
I like it if they handle it right. Like, let's get the right people, like, on those oversight committees, and then let's go. Absolutely.
If it's got like 8 Dr. Flows on it here, like, yes.
Dope.
Yeah, then let's fucking go. But if it's just like 3 MAGA dudes and Sue Frost, then I'm not really that fucking interested in it,
Yeah, I think the other thing that comes up again is that it's not like we have, for Sacramento in particular, our county board of supervisors is not made up of people who are interested in holding the cops accountable, potentially with the exception of Supervisor Patrick Kennedy at a District 2, who wrote
Sounds
that.
Right.
Maybe that's right. I don't know. Who published that op-ed that you sent to us in the Beat, and he's like, we got, oversight, that's what we need. And as I think about AB 1185, what comes to mind is like Measure U, where they just like silence that oversight and like push it in a corner. So again, we find ourselves in the same space, I think, as AB 1506, where it's like, if we have the right people sitting in those elected seats who help push that oversight through, then this could be tight. If it,
some context for what Shannon just said.
Sorry.
So Supervisor Kennedy just published an op-ed on I guess it's Thursday, the 3rd, the 4th, I don't know 3rd of September. And that was, that's more or less barely 2.5 days after this bill passed, and now will be going to the governor's desk. So this is him saying as soon as it passed, and I obviously McCarty being the local assembly member and having been a local politician for a long time here, he knows very, very well the fight between our sheriff here and the Board of Soups. So like this bill was written with Sheriff Jones in mind, and with the fact that Sheriff Jones actually had some sort of inspector general, right? But like just kicked him out basically and said, I'm not showing you.
Locked him out. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like,
locked him out. Yeah.
Nope.
So
swallowed that key.
This is Kennedy jumped on this immediately, even before it hits Gavin's desk, just saying, yeah, Sacramento, we need this. Come on.
Yeah.
Phil Cerna, the other Board of Soup member, is obviously going to be behind this. The only other one, it's our shivering wet little boy, Don Natoli, who is terrified of the sheriff and of the district attorney. So, I mean, it's yet to be seen how.
Come on, Don. Let's fucking go, Don.
Don's gonna be sitting up there like, I think we should probably spend some time to just, we should talk about this a little bit more. We should. I just think we should talk about it some more.
He wants a committee to talk about the committee.
He always wants a fucking committee to talk about a goddamn committee. It's like out of control.
Or like maybe bring in like a third party group to do an assessment. And I'll be over here pissing my pants.
So I think the other thing about this is in that op-ed that Supervisor Kennedy wrote, he talks about the difficulty of maintaining any sort of accountability to a sheriff. Of course, Scott Jones is sort of like at the top of the list of people who are very difficult to rein in. But a sheriff does not report directly to the Board of Supervisors, whereas a police chief does report to either the city manager, the mayor, and or the council.
Right.
And so the
sheriff's elected. Yeah.
Right.
Because the sheriff is elected. Right. So it brings up some more hurdles. So I think 1185 is cool as long as you got people who are not total asshole cop lovers.
Yeah, it's whoever's on the oversight committee determines how cool this is or how cool it's not.
Funny how this stuff works. So many of these things require engagement and education and organizing.
Organizing.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, okay. So obviously the way that things went were kind of a bummer. In many regards, we got a couple of little
gems in there.
Yeah, a couple of little things, but largely the cops get away with being murderous shitheads once again.
Weird.
Which sucks. I mean, everybody's fucking tired of it, right? Like people are literally lighting shit on fire because they don't know what else to do about it because the people who are supposed to represent us won't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. So there really is, and once again, we are in a situation with our politicians where there is very little hope for respite from murderous, killer, fascist cops for the time being. So the fight continues, but yeah, kind of rough news.
I think you're speaking to an important point, though, and it's something we've talked about on previous episodes, that our current politicians are very anachronistic to the moment. They are not ready. They do not understand what people are thinking and feeling, and they're not ready to entertain the type of America that we are trying to reimagine. And really, at the end of the day, they and their coercive arm in the police and sheriff's departments have broken the social contract. And a good friend of mine, friend of the show, in his recent political ad, his name's Ed Mackey,
Shit.
He said that that when they break, their side of the social contract, then the people will revolt, right? And that's what's happening right now. And they should not be surprised, and they should expect a whole lot more of this. It doesn't matter if there's, Joe fucking shoot him in the leg Biden in the White House. It's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
Joe fucking shoot him in the leg Biden is...
I didn't mean to make him sound cool. Sorry.
No, that does not make him sound cool.
That doesn't make him sound cool.
Also
Okay,
teamed up with Kamala Harris. Yeah, we'll see how police reform goes forward here on a federal level.
Yeah.
Not feeling super optimistic about it, but I am feeling super optimistic about something that has happened recently.
Ooh, go on.
There is a bit of good news. So we... I think it's fairly common knowledge that during these summer fires and in fire season, when there's kind of more for the fire department to do than the people that they have, or even for the volunteers that are seasonal can help out with, the state of California relies heavily on prisoners to come out and work with the fire department to dig trenches, to control fires. The prisoners for the last couple of years, now that the state just lights on fire every year, the felons of our state are saving our fucking asses and our communities from being burned down by fires every summer.
Yeah. In recent years, they were making up something like 1/5 of the entire force of firefighters fighting California wildfires.
Right.
So they've been just immensely important. Keep going. Sorry, I just wanted to drive that home.
Well, no. So the good news is that just recently, California passed some legislation that makes it so that nonviolent felons can get their records expunged, which makes them eligible to actually become firefighters once they are done with their term in prison, which is huge. Before this,
you're saying that before they could not, once leaving prison, even though they had the skill set, become firefighters?
Even though they actively were firefighters?
Even though they actively saved lives and houses and homes and businesses?
Well, don't be too harsh, Dave, because they were being paid for their time.
Chill out.
Between $2 and $5 a day to go stand on the sides of flaming mountains and dig trenches. So that was incredible. Good, but there's the thing that prevents them from actually becoming, or was preventing them from becoming firefighters, is that felons cannot become EMT certified. And that just completely shuts you out from being allowed to be a firefighter. But we're now expunging the record of nonviolent felons who have had fire training so that they can become certified and can become full-on firefighters, which is really good. I'm very, very happy to see that this has come through, because even with this, paying convicted felons pennies an hour to go fight fires for us, push back on me here, because my take on this, I realize legitimately might be a little radical, but this seems like slavery to me.
100%.
It is a thing that is allowed to exist because in our national consciousness, the 13th Amendment puts an asterisk on the phrase slavery is wrong. But slavery is not wrong, says the 13th Amendment, if somebody is a felon or somebody has committed some sort of a crime, then they don't have any rights, and they shouldn't deserve any rights. They don't have anything coming to them, and their human rights can resume once we're done with however long the judge has decreed that they're going to be in prison. And then having those guys work for you basically for free is slavery, as far as I can quantify it. It's good.
This
now.
sounds like a perfect assessment to me. I don't know about you, Shannon.
I am compelled to call this a perfect take.
It's good that they can get jobs now. This is a huge step in the right direction, because before this, they would do this. They would work for nothing, risk their lives, do their bids in prison, get out, and just be told, get fucked. Or you can have a job in like the National Forestry Service or something that's like 100 miles away from your community or wherever else you live if you want to go do that, so
Yeah.
This is good that they get the opportunity. I still believe that we rely on these guys to fight our fires. And if we can rely on these guys to fight our fires, then we can pay them like fucking firefighters while they're out there doing that work.
Absolutely.
I think.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I like this. I like this because it, for one, it feels like it's sort of moving into the lane of rehabilitation rather than lifelong, punitive action, right? And so the other thing is, crime is a fucking construct. So you got these guys who you say are these like terrible, felonious criminals, and yet you will allow them to risk their lives fighting fires, a job that pays anyone who isn't a felon super well. But then when you release them from the carceral system, you create a situation where they can't use the skills that they have learned because you've made them learn them, and you therefore set them up for recidivism.
Right,
so,
because there's no way that they can have a clean life and have a clear future if you are putting up all these roadblocks to them having a clean and clear future.
And Shannon phrased that perfectly. Like, that is absolutely the difference between a system which wants to rehabilitate people versus one that is entirely punitive. And ours is obviously and like provably entirely punitive. The law enforcement is not interested in like rehab people.
And how fucking perfect is it for our fucked up country, for the only way that we are able to show that we actually can rehabilitate folks is to just like fully abuse them by making them go out to fight fires and paying them basically nothing.
By the way, 100% if they're on good behavior, we do that.
Right.
They have to opt in, though. These guys aren't being forced into doing this.
They opt in. Also, they have to be. This is on. If they're on good behavior, then they can go and save people.
So they have to be the model criminal. Which and also I'm saying that, and I am 100%. I am confident. Maybe not. I'm not 100%. I am confident that many of the folks who find themselves locked up on a felony are people who have committed crimes of survival. So, quote, crimes. Like, these are folks who just like can't fucking catch a goddamn break.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about what the determinants of crime when we discuss what defunding the police means, right? And determinants of crime are so often poverty-based, poverty related, and if not that, mental health related, physical health related.
Sure.
So yeah, and it's a vicious cycle that only a disgusting, really the worst mutated form of capitalist country like the United States can manifest. Can I also just mention that firefighters have been relying on their really like the prisoner firefighters for years and years, and they have just barely been able to handle the load of the fires throughout the state in recent years, even as global warming and climate change is increasingly making our wildfire situation worse in California. But it wasn't until this year, And we've been arguing, people have been arguing for a long time that you should give folks a path to this career if they fought fires while in prison. It wasn't until this year when coronavirus hit and it cut the prisoner firefighting population to 1/3 of what it was originally.
Right.
And then we had these 2 historic fires that there was enough political will to push that through. And I think that should tell you a little bit more about what kind of bastardized capitalist system we have, that it takes something so out of the ordinary like this for us to actually, move on something.
Right.
And I wanted to say one last thing on this. I was out in Vacaville the night that it was evacuated during the complex fire out there. And it got real scary. And I was spending time over by the medical prison. They have a prison basically for people with medical situations. And it's on the edge of town, on the western edge of town. Everything around it was being evacuated. Every person was evacuated. But there was no move whatsoever to evacuate the prisoners from that prison or the one next door. And to me, that was deeply disturbing, knowing that the state has year in and year out basically relied on their slave labor to fight the fires in this state. They are willing to put their lives on the line. They have terrible ventilation in the medical hospital. Smoke was just billowing into all of their doors. Who in those hospitals had a respiratory condition? Who in those hospitals had COVID? Right. That prison hospital had COVID. So it was really disturbing to me. And it was scary. There were people, I got to a point where I got scared enough that I said, I got to get the hell out of here. And there was a tenor of panic in the neighborhood around the prisons because people felt like at any moment the flames would come over that hilltop and down to the prison and to their homes. And I just wanted to really drive that home, how serious that is and how fucked up it is within the context of the fact that we refuse to really take care of our prisoner firefighters.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we got a long ways to go. I think there's obviously a lot of work to do. I mean, and like if we're talking about the way that the U.S. justice and prison systems are run, we've got our work cut out for us for the next few generations to undo some of the horrors that we've put into place. But something good did happen here, and I think that we should recognize that and and appreciate that and be happy that there's like a whole bunch of these guys now that ain't gonna get out and have good jobs waiting for them on the outside, and that's huge. That is a very, very cool thing, and that should be how it goes, like regardless.
And again, like people don't understand, I guess, how frustrated so many folks our age and younger are, because we are all about decarceration, police abolition, housing for all. And you look at the bills that passed and we're a little bit infuriated that they're milquetoast. Tangibly, a lot of these are going to help some people. So that's good.
Yeah.
But there's still plenty of us to just yell about, plenty for us to stay mad about. And I guess as a call to action, one call to action that I would say is Nancy Skinner's bill for increased transparency. She just said, we're going to keep fighting next year. So, reach out to her office and see how you can help with that fight next year. Like a lot of the good bills that didn't make it through, there's always next session.
Right. Yeah. Well, speaking of getting out of a bad situation and having work lined up for you, that's not how it's going for me. But you will by no means be happy to hear that it has given me time to trawl through the internet in search of perfect takes. I am like a pig hunting for truffles, foraging around through Twitter for the perfect takes, and I found some great ones, and it's been getting me through this trying time. But I'm looking for a way that I can kind of focus that down and you know, streamline that process. I'm wondering if either of you know of a place where I could go where the takes are always perfect and they flow freely like a mountain stream.
Mm-hmm. I think I know of a place. You know, you were talking about being like a pig searching for truffles. There is one place that is just a pantry full of containers in mason jars filled with truffle butter.
See, this sounds like exactly what I've been looking for.
To the brim of perfect truffle butter takes.
Filled to the brim with takes.
A pantry full of perfect takes.
Mm-hmm. So
sprinkled with truffle salt.
Dave,
truffle salt.
Please tell me where I can go so that I can fill myself to the brim with all of these takes.
This pantry filled with truffles that the pigs cannot find. We refuse to allow the pigs to have any of this.
Pigs aren't allowed in this pantry.
In fact, all of the perfect takes are anti-pigs. It's called voicesrivercity.com. It's been around for about 3 years. Ever since we started off with our first essays with Sack Snark infuriating the art community with his pieces on art washing, which turned out to be true. We've been doing news and arts coverage over the years, community essays, the Sack Follows the Money Project, and now our current iteration is the podcast, which has been a joy to do, and it's really grown. I haven't mentioned it, but we had over 2,100 downloads in the month of August. We had 1,000 views on YouTube in the month of August. Things are really growing for the podcast, and that's been fun. And that really has everything to do with our listeners and viewers and you telling your friends about it. So thank you for that. But we are, as I said, voicesrivercity.com. We are on Facebook, Voices River City, Twitter at Voices River City, Instagram at Voices River City. Skylar runs that. It's funny as hell. We're on YouTube, Voices River City. You get to watch our little faces as we do our episodes. It's a little more raw and it's a little more fun, I guess, in that regard sometimes. And we get a lot of more right-wingers on there to tell us why. Yeah, they love to come on there and tell us why, you know, the murderer kid with an AR-15 in Kenosha is actually a hero.
Actually very cool. Good.
Thanks
and cool.
to all of you dick bags out there.
Gross.
We are on Patreon. We just got our 101st patron on there, which is very exciting. So a lot of limericks to write there.
Yeah, we're writing limericks now. Yeah. It's time.
I'm totally down to make a limerick for any person.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, as long as we're not getting like 100 a week or something. Even then,
I mean, I'm unemployed. What the fuck else am I doing? All right,
I'm a professional limerick writer now.
It's time to add that to the
I kind of like that. To the
What is it? What's the shit? The perks?
The perks, yeah.
The perks.
But you can go as low as $5 a month. That's a beer at the bar you're not going to on Patreon. Again, that's patreon.com/voicesrivercity. You can go as high as $25 a month, which will get you a Voices River City mug and a t-shirt in the mail. And we're always very excited to share those. We're about to get our store up, and that's going to be very, very soon.
Are we?
I'm trying, man. But is that everything?
Yeah, I mean, do you sometimes go to Twitter and offer up your own perfect takes? And if you do, where can I read those?
Oh, I'm sometimes on twitter.com. If you followed me today on twitter.com, you'd learn that the strong mayor power grab Darryl Steinberg just took $25,000 from the California Association of Realtors. That was very fun to see today. But yeah, I am on Twitter.
That is a huge shock and a giant surprise.
Yeah, it's weird that
I'm floored.
Yeah,
the realtors and developers seem to love Darryl Steinberg, and I can't figure out why. Because you know, he comes off as being so for the people. Anyway, I'm on Twitter at YouKnowKempa, YUKNOWKEMPA.
You can find me at Guillotine for You. That's Guillotine, the number 4, YOU.
I'm Shan Andy Stevens. And Flo.
You go. Yeah, you do it.
Oh, me do it. Yeah. Dr. Flo is Flojaune, FLOJAUNE.
And hopefully Dr. Flo is having an extremely relaxing and recharging week. We send her all of the best vibes, and cannot wait to see her again. Yeah.
On our next show.
I miss her already. And
miss her terribly.
I cry every night.
Yeah.
Same. I'm crying right now. I'm being strong, but I'm at the edge of tears right now. You guys.
Yeah, I can.
I'm all cried out. It. I've cried my dick off. There's no more crying on this.
Holy shit.
That's tough.
That sounds. I mean, I guess you don't really need your dick during COVID.
Yeah, COVID's kind of
Cry to clean off.
Deprioritize
the difference. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get the fuck out of here before we get canceled. What do you guys say?
That's probably a good idea. It was starting to get into the world of titties. So
yeah. No.
I was feeling like I was gonna say something related to titties.
I didn't cry my tits off. Mine are still intact.
No, they're doing great. Yeah, in fact, due to the lack of the gym, my titties have never been more bountiful. It's actually turning into a real problem for me. I need I need somewhere where I can do a bench press.
Maybe you need a good cry now.
So here's the thing: should we get a squillionaire to support us via Patreon, Skylar may just send you a photo of his titties.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you got $1 squillion, send it over.
Shout out to Agent Squillion. Actually, we had 70 listens in Virginia last month.
Dude, this guy is putting in overtime.
OMG, Agent Squillion.
Good work, Agent Squillion. We appreciate you.
You're doing a really good job.
Thanks for inflating our numbers too.
Our friends in Langley, I'm sure they're all just sitting in the coffee lounge, just loving every second of this.
Yeah, we must be famous at the FBI for sure. Yeah.
Totes, 100% super famous.
All right.
So it feels great. Okay. That's it. We will see you guys in a few days. In the meantime, we love you and we want you to be happy. Is that what I say? I lost it.
Nope. That's not it.
You're the only one who never fucks this up.
We love you. We want you to stay safe. That's what it is.
Stay sane.
Stay healthy.
You got to do it, Dave.
I got to do it too. Okay.
Oh, no. Well, Shannon did it.
Yeah, someone's got to do it.
Stay the fuck away from me.
All right. Fucking you got it, man. I'm out. Oh, wow. Jesus Christ.
Wow. All right. All right, guys.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.